Alright, so finally. Finally. I took care of that situation, whatever that interruption was, and I logged back on. Said I was going to log back on today, after I made sure certain emergencies got them taken care of. Now, when I logged off, I said this game was like a 3.2 or 3.2, got it up to a 3. So even if I took it back down to like a 2.5, after looking at everything from the point of view of the game itself, if I was to go back to the lobby and looking at everything from the point of view of the game itself, let's say I took it back to a 2.5, it's worth more than 2.5 by now. If I was to look at everything from the campaign status, there's so many locations I have to do before the game's actually over. And I barely scratched the surface of the first location. I just finished the first location of the game. And that was a full, I would say, 30 to 45 minutes in. Run it, you could probably get it down to like 20 minutes. But if you don't know what to do, you can get it down to like 45 minutes to an hour in. So each location are like an hour. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The game is probably about 9 hours. The campaign itself is probably about 9 hours. Even if I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Let's say I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And each map section is about 30 minutes. That's still more than 4 hours per each section for a campaign. That's not the game itself. When you look at the game itself, you have to say, well, is the game itself worth more than the value of the location themselves? Now, for all, and based on your first time playing game, a location would be a maximum of 30 minutes with a group of people. So you say this location that's checked off is 30 minutes, that location is 30 minutes, that's an hour. Another location is 2 hours, another location is 3 hours, another location is 4 hours, almost about 5 hours. So you could say you could get it up to about a full 4.5 to 5 hours. And that's not that good, but this is just my assumption. I don't know for 100% sure. You could only speed run these things. I say maybe you could speed run them in 30 minutes to 20 minutes if you're good and get it down to 4 hours. If you're in a group of people who are novices, that might be a different story. So each location might be exceed more than an hour. So that's not that bad, but that's not that good either. But based on the fact that this game exceeded more than 10 years ago, um, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. If something is more than 4 hours, it achieves what it's supposed to achieve for a non AAA game. Um, Especially if I know for a fact that levels are probably going to exceed past 30 minutes easy, especially with certain levels are longer than others, which is probably going to be the case. So I'm not worried about things falling below 4 hours or a little bit above 4 hours. I know it's going to exceed that marker easily. So that's just the factor of the campaign itself. I get it 2.5 to about 3. I give it right now. Now, there's also the fact of the horde, which you have different horde locations. It's not just one horde locations. We have many horde locations. And these horde locations exceed that of the Zombie Army 4. So that is also a factor to consider later on into the game as well as I play. And then there's the score attack mode, which is also to be considered later on in the game. And that depends on how you're playing. Maybe it's a versus 1-on-1 versus 2-on-2 versus zombies via it's not PvP, it's PvE. Who knows? I'm going to check that out. But I could see this game going up to a value that exceeds far more than 5. Maybe exceeds far more than 6. Anyone says this game is probably in the 5 route and it's been more than 10 years probably doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. I could see this game easily being more than 5. And the amount of acquisitions that the collectibles you have, there's so much collectibles to collect. And these things are probably not going to be given easily or evenly. They're going to have to do certain activities, certain puzzles, certain things in order to collect them. And each of these collectibles might give you a perk or might give you a bonus in order to increase your weapons or increase your power, so on and so forth. Obviously, you're going to get trophies as well. But there are other factors to consider with regards to the game. Now, I got it for 3.2. I'm going to keep playing and see where we go from here. I got it to everyone on the game, so anyone could play along with my play. Or you could play this game solo. It really doesn't matter who you are. Or you could take it back to lobby, and then you could check out other people's game. Or you could check out quick match. You go campaign, and then you could character setup. Pick her, or you could pick her, him, or you could pick him, accept, and then search for players. And when you set quick match, search for players. If there are any, it will load. If there are none, it won't load. But in this case, I'm not going to wait for quick match, because sometimes the quick match in games just like For Honor takes forever to actually find a map, especially if people aren't logged on at the same time you do. Or if when someone's in a game, they're playing horde mode, majority of the group as people together playing horde mode, or the loading time in order to search for people takes too long. So I'm not going to waste my time with that. I'm just going to play as standard on the campaign, and I'm going to do multiplayer so that when someone quick matches me, they could go straight in rather than worry. Because I know my network is not as fast as other people's network speed. And at any time, you could also select a different character, whether you're in mission or outside of mission, or you're going to the next area at any time in the game. Obviously, you will not get the unlocking of increased ability for that person because you're not using that same character all the time in missions for weapons as well as the character themselves if you switch up. But at the same time, you slowly and gradually you're increasing your power towards that individual you're using. So right now, I am going to choose Mr. Brawny Brawn here. And maybe I won't choose him. Maybe I won't choose him. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe the logical choice is to pick the guy that's the most obvious to win, which will be him. Or the chick that's the most obvious to win because they have the strongest weapon. Or the secondary trick that's the most obvious to win, and he's like the weakest character. So maybe it's just me, or maybe I'm the type of person that I believe in the underdog. So I'm gonna go with the underdog right now. I'm gonna level up the underdog because I know if a party starts, majority of people will pick the brawny guy. They will pick the chick or either of the two chicks, and then we'll see how that will go with regards to them. Because the bomber chick, she's an expert at the explosives, and she carries the big gun, the big shotgun. So she's the handyman ratchet type that fixes everything. Basically, a good example of a pre-World War era female, which doesn't make that much sense if you really think about it, because pre-World War One era females didn't do any ratchet and fixing stuff. So this character is more like a World War One example of a female character who worked in a factory and stuff. But then again, back in the days, before the pre-World War One era, before planes got to be a staple standard during the time of World War One and War Two. Um, this might have been an outfit that existed back then still. So who knows? Could be the case. But for right now, we're gonna go with Mr. I have a lot of medals and probably the guy that's the magician of the group. It looks more like the guy that's the magician of the group. That carries a huge satchel and probably has a heavy arsenal. Probably not the best weapons, not the best guns, but his revolver, his secondary weapon is pretty damn good. So for this one, I'm gonna go with this guy. I'm gonna continue my mission. Now make sure everything's on join for everyone, and whether people join or not is irrelevant because I am going to I'm going to play this to evaluate this based on the game itself, not on who joins the game. The value of the game itself overall, how it held up from the past to where it is now. Now I had to take care of emergencies back then, so I had to log off and then log back on. But now I'm going to go through it, check everything out, I'll see how it works, and I believe I'm at a good I'm at a good 3.2, and I could get it up to a good 6 or a 7. Overall value of this game, I believe, is probably around a 6 or a 7. But then again, who knows if the fun factor is incredible, it might exceed even a 7. So forget what Metacritic says. You have to evaluate games from 0 going to 100, and 0 being 0. And then it goes to point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4, point 5, point 6, point 7, point 8, point 9, and then it gets to a 1. And then you do that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then it gets to a 2. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then it gets to a 3. And that's how you increase points from 1 going to 10. So evaluation of best to worst, or worst to best, or from 1 to 10 being the best type of game there is. That's how you work it. You don't just give a full point. You evaluate them by percentage 1 first. Now, some people say you don't do that, but how would you know if you don't do things in details? If you just give 1 for something because you like how it looks all around without looking at the devil in the details. The people who designed this game design it in details. They didn't just throw down rocks and then made the rocks a certain color and then set it there and said, okay, these are rocks. And we'll put leaves on top of rocks and color it, and then make sure light comes in and hit the rocks in the color, and then there's a gradient shadow and everything. No, a hell of a lot of detail went into just these freaking rocks themselves, and these actually leaves as well. I mean, not leaves, the grass as well. The grass had to be at a certain angle. They had to be spreading out like they're actually growing, like there's actually dirt underneath, like they actually grow the way grasses grow. They don't grow with regards to each other, have to grow like fungus. When you create anything in any world, especially in the video game world, and they're an organic compound that has a life of their own, or inorganic compound that has a life of their own, it has to grow. If it's inorganic, if it's like a plant, it has to grow like it's a fungus. You have to take it like a sprinkle, like you sprinkle a bunch of salt on the floor, and they spread out on the floor. And from that spread out on the floor, you leave that salt for a while, or you put water on the salt, and then you let it grow, and you let it mix with the dirt. Whatever spores grow from that salt on that floor, or whatever the sugar grows from the spores on that floor, it will spread out in certain areas. They won't follow a straight line. It will follow the angle for which the seeds or spores all spill onto the floor and grow in those directions, up, down, up, down. So they'll grow like an organic compound. They won't grow like something mechanical. So when you put grass on the floor, it has to follow a certain type of natural formula in nature with regards to life itself, as well as rocks. You don't sprinkle rocks on the floor and says it's a rock formation. It has to have like a certain organic feel to it, and it has to follow the logic of gravity and the logic of contour lines and the logic of foliation. So that's also something to be considered. People don't consider that when they're playing games. And you don't know anything about games. You're just someone streaming so you can make money off people. That's what I think. Get the hell out of here. So I'm going to increase the volume of this, and then we'll see. And if someone says, well, if you ain't making money doing game valuations and stuff, you're really wasting your time. Like, why do people play basketball as a hobby and not make money off of the hobby of playing basketball? Even though some of them are better than people who are professionals. That's because that's not their thing. That's not their ultimate goal in life. If it was their ultimate goal in life, their hobby would become their lifestyle, and that'll be their flow. In this case, in my case, this is my hobby, but it's not my lifestyle choice. Meaning it's not my lifestyle choice. It's associated with my lifestyle choice. My lifestyle choice is art design and art decoration. It's associated with it, but it's not the main tip of the iceberg filler of it. I won't ever probably make a video game in my life whatsoever at all unless there's a reason for me to do it. Would I work within an organization that make video games for the art background? Would I work within an organization for comic book? Would I do designs? Would I do portrait paintings? Hell yes, just because that's what I'm doing right now. But outside of that factor, once you're done doing the work for the company, you won't do the design themselves for the game itself. You won't set up the game itself once you finish the job within the company. Enjoying the overall game itself is different from putting things such as the character model of the face of this character, designing the face, writing the face, creating the animation and stuff. Once that job is done, someone else has to do the interactive menu job. So once you could enjoy something from the factor of someone outside looking in, even though you work within the company. So even though I may not be a game designer, I may be an artist for a comic book or so on and so forth, or do my own thing or my own form of art. It's located within the realm of art, even though it's not my main priority art. Same as someone playing basketball, enjoying basketball, and probably more professional than someone who's a pro basketball player, understanding it as an overall perspective, but not being as good as that professional player playing it, but understanding more. That's because that individual did not decide to invest in that actual basketball as their career. They're investing in something related to that basketball career, not the same thing. That's why I don't make money streaming, and that's why I don't invest in streaming and making money off video games, but I can evaluate a video game because my majority of my time and hours is spent with something that takes more priority over this. So if I spend 2 or 3 hours playing a video game or 4 hours, I spend double that time doing something related to more as my future and my career. This is just something I do on the side, but it has an association with art. And that goes to the same for everything within the game. I would not play video games if video games wasn't associated towards an art form. And people who are playing video games and it's not associated towards an art form, it doesn't give them ideas. It's not within their realm of interest. They're like an accountant or something, and that person is simply doing it for a hobby. They're not in the same realm as you and me. They're streaming things for money, and it has nothing to do with games. And I say, fuck you and the horse you rode in on, if that's the case. You have the right to your hobby, but not at any time it would tell me that I need to actually make money from streaming because I play games a lot. I'm like, no, man. There are two types of gamers. Those who enjoy the world and the game itself from a hobby point of view, and those who enjoy the game and the world for himself from a business point of view. And I don't do art from a business point of view. I do art from an enjoyment point of view and from a personal career point of view. Otherwise, I would spend the majority of my time online every day trying to figure out ways to make money from streaming games and do nothing in regards to my future other than video game being my future, playing video games. Whereas that's not my future. My future is making money within the realm of design that's within the realm of video games, in the realm of movies, in the realm of art, in the realm of comic books, writing, drawing, designing, so on and so forth. So when you evaluate everything, you have to look at everything. Everything around you, sky, everything. Character movements, everything. Cloth, everything. If you ain't doing that and you claim to be a person that evaluates game, you ain't doing. Yeah, I don't know what the hell you are. So that said and done, we'll keep going. I increase the volume. I'll see what's going on with this game. See volume here. I'll play. I'll decide to wait for other people. But will I really? No. I'll keep playing the game and see if it's well worth 6, 7, or maybe even an 8.
Sinister scarabs, far-off murderous mummies. I wondered if there's a connection.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Look at this as well. Never put this in regards to evaluation before. When you shoot anything, flowers, when you shoot the trees, like I did it before, things fall off the leaves. When you move onto leaves or anything on the ground, or any type of vegetation, it moves along with you, not just the wind blowing on it, but when you knock into it. So that's another detail that I didn't mention. That's also within this game for something that's exceeded 10 years ago. So that's pretty good. It's not just the detail of the curvatures and the lighting and effect, but also the actual animation towards inanimate objects as well. Not just you interacting it with you, how it moves in reality and how it moves when you knock into it. So I'm giving the game a 3.3 now. That little thing towards it increases value. So giving it a 3.3 now.
Is there no problem the Brigade can't solve? Ghastly ghouls blocking the bridge. But can they hold it against the strange Brigade? Safe to cross now. 3 cheers for our chaps.
Really Indiana Jones stuff. Yep, that did it. If you see the subtitles of the narrator pop up at the bottom, it's also a good reason to, if you don't like that the narrator flaps his mouth off all the time, all you gotta do is lower the dialogue. However, I'm not sure if this will affect zombies as well. So we'll see if the dialogue actually cuts off the zombies as well, or cut off important details with regards to your characters. So we'll see. I believe it might not. It might fall into the effect of music and effects, like here, effects of zombies or dialogue. Because see, this sounds like the monsters, the zombies themselves. That sounds like the creatures themselves. So that might be an issue. But we'll see. We'll see. And it's not an interface. I tried to find an interface to see. Maybe I could cut off his vocal cord, cut off the special callouts. It says toggle to display events, kill calls, toggle to display horde information, enemy health, team notifications, toggle to display of notifications about your teammates, counter toggle to mount display on or appearance. So there's nothing with regards to the actual narrator themselves. So hopefully this does the trick and doesn't affect the actual sound effects of the monsters themselves. yeah, so I think I was talking, and my actually communication thing was actually I was talking and then I was blocking my actual headset off. So now that I know that the dialogue box can decrease the actually narrator's voice right here to zero. If you knock it down to zero, you won't hear the narrator's voice, but you'll still hear the effects of the zombies and everything else. That's cool. So as long as everything else is up to 100, or at least the volume that you want to hear it at, 90 or 100, it doesn't matter. As long as the dialogue is at zero, you won't hear the narrator running his stupid voice off all the time. So that's good. I originally took points away from the game for that, but now that I know that I could decrease his voice and not hearing him, I'll give it an extra point with regards for actually being able to eliminate him to a certain degree, or increase his voice if I want to at any time, not just his voice, but the voice of everyone else in my party, by lowering the dialogue. So now I'm at a 3.4. I already took points off for the narrator running his mouth off all the time. Now I know I could decrease that value, so I'm going to give the game a full one more point. So now I'm at 3.4 for having this actually in place code for lowering the dialogue, for going from 0 to 100, for lowering dialogue, the code for dialogue within the game. So that's good, and I like that. So now I'll continue the game, decrease the volume, cut my mic, and I'm still enjoying the game. I don't need to play with others to evaluate this game and to enjoy this game. This game could be enjoyed from a solo value as well as a group value. And this is a pretty damn old game, to be honest with you. So if it's this enjoyable, even though it's old, that means it still works to this day. Might not be AAA, but still works.
out why it's so important today.
In for a penny, in for a pound. Good on anyway. Ammunition. George's beard. Supplies! Oh, jolly useful.
in front of us. perilous path to take now.
So I'm going to check out the Horde mode now, and I'll see how it plays out from here on. See how interesting Horde is. Probably the most fun factor of the game is probably the Horde mode. Probably the best place to level up your weapons as well. If it's anything like Zombie Army 4 or the Zombie Army series, it'll probably be the best place to level up. So back to lobby, and then we'll check out Horde mode. And I'll probably check this out for the next 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and then I'll get out of here. So now we'll see Horde. Horde is like confirm Horde. Horde mode. Characters. Guess it doesn't really matter. Horde. I like this game is because this game has the factor of actually discovering things and solving puzzles, whereas Zombie Army doesn't have that fact. It may not be as fun as Zombie Army, so it may not be the type of monsters you want, but it has that. It feels like a completed game from start to finish, well designed, and the people who did it understands the job that they did. Well, that was that. Fun. I like the horde mode. I like the fact that there are different variations of zombies. I like the fact that it's not easy, it's difficult. And in horde mode, let's see. You could choose whatever locations you want to play at. So, score attacks. Now we're gonna do score attacks. We'll see what this is about. Score attacks. So far, so good. The game plays well. Everything works good. It does feel a little stiff when it comes to do your L1 kick ability, but everything else feels fine. That is fun. I don't know what people think with regards to this game. That is fun. Now, if this is group activity, if this is something you could do a co-op, which it is, it says everyone can join, that is fun. That is fun as shit. That's more fun than Horde mode. Might as be as fun as Horde mode. So this game is fun. May not be to the level of Zombie Army 4 fun, but I guarantee this falls within the 6 and 7 range. This is where you know that Metacritic probably doesn't understand. So, based on the Horde mode itself, so I exit out of this. So based on the Horde mode itself, based on what I could see from Horde mode, in addition to other stuff I did within the game, so based on Horde mode itself, in addition to other stuff I did within the regular game itself, I would say Strange Brigade, Horde mode, and I actually haven't even checked everything. I checked score attack, I checked Horde, I checked the campaign, and quick match are those for people who are actually you want quick match with someone. But I never checked browse game, so I'm going to do browse game, and I'm going to see in browse game, someone's doing Horde, someone's doing campaign, so on and so forth. So maybe I should do campaign. Maybe I should continue on with certain parties. So score attack is a group thing that works great, and I love score attack, and I believe it's awesome, and it works great. Score attack works great. Score attack is actually even more fun than Horde mode. So originally I had this game as probably 3.3, 3.4. Based on Horde mode is a point 0.5. Horde mode is a point 0.5. Score attack, I believe score attack is even better than Horde mode. I believe score attack might actually be even better than Horde mode. Because that was fun as shit. Score attack was fun as shit. The campaign is fun. Yes, you do the campaign. But score attack was fun as shit. That boss battle, that was like Dark Souls boss battle. And you have his minions surrounding him, then you defeat the minions, and then you have to face off again, like a Minotaur version of him in a brawl. Score attack is fun as shit. It's probably more fun than Horde mode. So I like that. I like that a lot. Now the um, one problem with regards to Zombie Army 4, the same as Strange Brigade, you could decide to stay with certain people in the party, or you decide to be kicked from the party by certain other people. So I like the fact that you could have the ability to choose whether you could join a party, browse party, and do co-op mode with other people, or not. Now, in this one, if I press play, or if I press browse game, it show who's in the game and who wants to play in the game. So now I'm going to join this character. Now it really depends on the people that are in the game. Um, Depends on who they are, whether they want you to play a mission with you, whether they don't want to play a mission with you. But based on the game, score attack from the game, if you look at it, score attack is probably the most fun part of the game itself. Because I guess score attack is where it's like a raid, where horde is just horde versus horde for leveling. The score is like a raid, and I believe score attack is who gets the greatest score gets the best reward, and that's pretty awesome. Or who kills faster, or could get to the objective faster is gets the better reward, or who gets the highest score gets certain perks and certain points. So I could see that being extremely fun with regards to the overall game itself. And where I had this game at a 3.4, 3.5, Actually 3.3 is 3.4. I'm now knocking it up to probably. I said I was going to give it 5 points in itself for score because I could see score becoming even better. So now I get this game up to about a 4.2, giving an extra 5 points. Yeah, no, not 4.2, not 4.2. That's that would be more than five, more like seven or eight addition, like 7 points. Um, so 3.4. Get it up to about I'll get it to a 3.9, and horde mode itself with the additional amount would probably get it up to like a 4.2, 4.3, depending on the horde amount. But based on what I see, like actually, it ramps up pretty fast for every wave that you do, and the enemy types become very difficult for horde mode wave. So it's kind of like Zombie Arms 4 Horde mode. You level the weapons up and so on and so forth. But I believe score attack is far more fun than that, so you won't get that full 5 points from me. I know it would exceed past that. And like I said, for every time I give an additional point towards the game, it goes from 0 to point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4, point 5. And I'm not going to go through everything in score, but I could tell from the very first mission that it already gets a point 1 for its interesting atmosphere and how fast you could kill. And then they got an additional point 2 for the fact that it include a big freaking boss inside of it towards the end to see how fast you kill, as well as minions surrounding them in the boss fight. So it's like a Dark Souls boss fight, but it's not that elaborate. But it is a big boss fight towards the end, or huge group fight towards the end. But basically, it's a mini boss, or not even a mini boss. It's like a boss, because a mini boss would be like more like a brawler or something, an additional type of heavy coming into the mission. So I say this game is it's a good 4 right now, 4.24. I got it up to 4.24 now. Those additional points will like that point 0.5 wouldn't get it up to 4 from 3.4. That point 0.5 is for additional stuff in combination between score and between horde, I believe. Um, or maybe actually it's hard to tell because I haven't played the whole thing, but I'm going to combine them together. I'm going to combine horde and score attack together with regards to the points to get it up to a 4.2, rather than separate them because I already know that they're both fun in their own respects, aside from the game itself. So the game itself to me already got a 3.3, and I would give score a full 1. So that's why I got it up to a 4.2, 4.3. Because I give score a full 1 because I know it's going to be. I mean, I give score attack a full point 0.5 because I know it's going to exceed the actual value and get it up to a 3.9. But I'm going to combine those points with horde mode to get up past 4 to like a 4.3. Um, will it exceed 5? Obviously, yes. Will it get to 6? It solely depends on the special weapons I'm going to have, the attacks I'm going to have, the abilities I'm going to develop in time, and the weapon upgrades and the special effects of the weapons and capabilities of the weapons to do damage. As you can see, that last weapon in the score attack mode, that was an incredible weapon. That was an incredible special weapon, and that'll be bananas if that weapon, that last like heavy, like almost Gatling gun type weapon, but it's kind of like a handgun type, not handgun, but a rifle type Gatling gun, is actually within your palm and becomes a regular staple, or not staple, but part of your inventory as a permanent item, rather than something that shows up, you use it up, and then goes away. maybe that's not the case. Maybe you have to purchase it every now and again once you get enough points. But if it's not hard to collect points to get it again, that's also something that'll be good in the end, so it won't be too complicated. But if it's something that you could keep and have, then that already knocked score up to about a full 1 rather than a point 5 for me. And then I'll make Horde in itself, based on the fun factor and the capabilities and the different areas, the point 5 for that. So I would already get this game is already at a 4.3. If it increases within the weapon handling, within the weapon management, within the power uses, it's going to exceed 5. And the only way I could see exceeding 5 right now is if the campaign in of itself, the campaign itself goes past the 5 ratio, based on the locations, based on the artifacts I found, based on the puzzles I find. And I know that's going to happen. The game itself, the campaign itself, based on the puzzles, based on the type of locations, based on everything, I believe that the campaign itself might be in and of itself a 4 as a total game. In and of itself a 4. And then with score attack and with horde, it would exceed it past 5. And then you could basically say the upgrades, the powers, and everything else with regards to the game, and maybe even the collectibles and extra activities and unlockables that you might find secrets, might get the game to a 6 and 7. But like I said, I believe this game is probably a 6 games, 6 points to 6.5 to 6.7, and maybe based on what you're unlock, or maybe based on the fun factor of the weapon, or the special ability of the weapon, the ridiculousness of the weapon, or maybe even the monsters, or maybe even comedy, maybe something that's unforeseen can get this game up to an 8. But I believe this game is a standard 6 at the moment. If after I see everything in the campaign, in horde attack mode, and in score attack. Right now, I just see the base of the campaign, the base of horde, and the base of score attack, and that's already past the 4 range as a whole. Once I dig deeper into campaign, I know the campaign is going to exceed past 5. So as a base game in and of itself, this game is already a 5. If you tally up both horde, score, campaign, and everything for creating the game as well, is already a standard 5. It already achieved what a video game is supposed to achieve in and of itself at its base standards. As you go deeper into the game, that's where you start to reward more points based on everything that you're seeing. As you elevate towards campaign, next location, next horde mode, next score attack mode, next boss level, then you'll see based on, is it more intriguing? Are the puzzles more interesting? And that will decide whether the game exceeds past 6, and if based on the upgrade and based on the special powers, if that's even more fun, that will decide whether the game exceeds past 7. But I truly believe this game is probably a 7 total complete, if not 6 or 7. That it probably won't exceed past 7, even in fun factor, because like I said, everything goes from 0 to 10. So it's not like you're just giving it one full point. You have to give it by step process. So by step process they already exceeded 4. And by step process before the campaign is over, I already see the campaign being a 4, or in the 4, 7, 4, 8, 4, 9, the 4 in the 4 range by the campaign itself, excluding everything else that I said with regards to the game, which is design rollovers, special effects, sound effects, just the campaign itself and the design of the campaign and everything within the campaign. I mean, based on everything else included within the campaign, from what I stated from the beginning of the game to now, if you separate it from score attack, if you separate it from horde, from where the campaign stands and everything else outside of the campaign and outside of horde, outside of score, everything else, your menu screen, interactive menu screen, volume control, lighting, everything as the game as a total, I say it's about 4 or within the 4.5, 4.6 range, but I have it at 4.3 in my mind right now. Um, from the campaign, if I dive deeper into the campaign story, by the time I get to the halfway mark, I know it's going to be a 4. But as a total for if you first started the game and you're just investigating and checking out different modes just to check it out and then to do a quick evaluation, as a total, both score, both horde, both the campaign have already exceeded 4 as a total. But as reaching the halfway point, it will get more points. And then going towards the end of the game, it will get more points. And then you factor in the deciding factor after you gave it the points going towards the end or after the end. Does it deserve additional points after the game is over? Or does it deserve to deduct points after the game is over? And I already see, based on everything I'm seeing, that this game is already going to exceed a 5 and probably hits the 6 range. And within the 6 and 7 range, that's where you decide after the game is over, does it work to subtract certain things from it? Because if you're already subtracting things as you're going along playing the game, you're already doing that already. So it would have to be something devil in the details to subtract even more. But as you're playing the game, you're already adding and subtracting as well. So if you really subtract towards the end of the game, then you weren't really factoring subtraction and addition during the process of the game. You just saw it towards the end. Or you could do it if you're the type of person to evaluate at the end of the game, the overall game, rather than during the game. And remember well, or have someone next to you to log it down and write down everything in detail. You could do it that way. But I've done it in the step process. And I've done it as I'm playing and how I feel as I'm playing while I'm going along. And right now, I'm not even at the 25% marker of the game. And I already know that based on everything I see, not even hitting the 25% marker of the game, that it's already in the 4 category as a total game. But that's it for me for today. Tomorrow I might continue. In fact, tomorrow I'll definitely, probably, maybe not tomorrow. Actually, yeah. Tomorrow I'll do 1 hour, probably 1 hour total towards this game to see how I could get deeper into the campaign. And I'll go and do I'll probably do score attack, 30-minute score attack. I'll go for 1 hour in the campaign and 30-minute score attack. Or I'll go for 30 minutes in the campaign and 30-minute score attack. Just to see if I could get to the 25% marker in the campaign. Or I might just do the campaign and get to at least the 25% marker of the campaign. And see if I could add additional points. If the bosses are wild and crazy, and have wild and crazy attacks, unique and distinct from the Zombie Army 4 trilogy, as well as, the Zombie Army trilogy, as well as Zombie Army 4, or something you've seen like World War Z or other zombie games, then I'm going to give the campaign a 4 right then and there, in and of itself. Not the horde mode, not score, not anything else of the game which I stated. Because then I know that by the campaign setup itself, even though the campaign might actually be short in hours, it will have value in and of itself, separate from everything else. So that's it for my today's description with regards to Strange Brigade, and everything I've seen so far is good. I'm already at a 4.3 with regards to the game, and based on everything else, quick matches, browsing game, and extras that might pop up for the game. Leadership boards and all this, they have all that as well. I might check out all that and see how that plays out. And if the unlockables are fun, if the perks are great, this might actually turn out to be a 7 game, like I said. And if it's incredibly detailed and incredibly done good, even towards the end of the game, and the story actually picks up and becomes something more heartfelt, it might actually be an 8 game. But I doubt it, but who knows? Strange Brigade, based on what I've heard about this game, is a highly underrated game. It's fun as hell, but not a lot of people play it because I guess it's not AAA. It's not a AAA standard. And I gotta laugh at people who thinks AAA standard are the only games to play. You're a bunch of goddamn children. That's what I think. You're follow the leader, jump off the building, monkey see, monkey do. People who can't play games for fun, and people want to think that what's the point of going to a baseball game? There's not a lot of people are around to see the baseball game and the baseball players. It's not that fun. Obviously, that is true. But if you're really concerned about what a whole lot of people are around to have fun to increase the enjoyment, then that means that you're weak in the mind, that you need others to make you feel fun and to make it enjoyable. You deserve what's coming to you. So that's my idea when it comes to human understanding of each other. You need people to make you feel good, and you're all insecure weaklings, in my mind. Not just my mind, but based on the logic of everything of life, human nature. I can't call people weak if I know that they're strong, but based on the fact that if you need someone to actually make you feel good or to make you play a game that's underrated but it's actually fun, I don't know what to say. You got personal issues. I think one of the factors with regards to Strange Brigade, why it doesn't resound that much as something like Call of Duty or Zombie Army 4, is that it's lacking a certain specific something. Maybe if they had originally updated this more, maybe if they get back to this game, maybe if they throw in a werewolf, maybe if they increase certain type of movement speed, maybe if they included stuff like Frankenstein and werewolf and certain type of monsters in the game, or make your characters have like fighting abilities, not just shooting abilities or one-shot abilities, have certain fighting abilities along with their shooting guns. That would be something that's interesting as well. And then a more detailed mechanics towards the inventory management. Maybe if they develop a Strange Brigade 2, that might be something that's a lot of people will play and find very interesting and add ridiculous humor. If they add ridiculous humor into the game, like it's something like Indiana Jones or certain specific things that made it appealing that goes beyond the level of enjoyment, it may hit that AAA territory without having a AAA budget. But at the moment, I believe Strange Brigade is a standard shoot 'em up game that's developed and executed very well, and deserves to be in the 7 brackets. Six is anything from 6 going up brackets, 6, 7, and nearing the 8 bracket. And it's any games that falls into AA budget that usually ends up at the 6, 7, and 8 bracket. They don't usually go beyond there. And if they usually hit that 6, 7, and 8 bracket, that means they're successful. I mean, that means you did your job. It's okay. But once you hit 7, that means you've done something successful. And I believe Strange Brigade is doing something successful, and that's highly underrated. And maybe if they make a Strange Brigade 2 or come back to it, they will do certain things that exceed that of Zombie Army 4. So, who knows? But I'm really having fun with this game, and I really believe there's tons of things to unlock and tons of secrets to find. And highly underrated game. And it's well deserved of its development, and everything is done perfectly well, and the details are there. These people are hardworking, and it shows within the game, and it shows between the image of the game and the execution of the game. Certain things are janky with regards to the movement of the characters, but the animation setup and everything of characters and everything is done good. Everything is done great. It's not perfect. It's not excellent. It's basically a guy creates a comic book, a Captain America comic book, and it's distributed in every store. That Captain America comic book is distributed in every store. It becomes a famous Captain America comic book, but it's not the best Captain America comic book. Why? Because it lacks certain things to make it their best Captain America comic book. Whether it's the story, whether it's the humor, whether it's the characters, it lacks certain things that make it the best. Most of the time is how the environment looks, how the character interact with the environment, the situation, the circumstance of the characters, and most of all is the perspective of how you draw the comic book versus the composition, how you draw the comic book versus the composition set up towards telling the story. Like if a person goes from one page, page 1 to page 17, and it's fluidly flowing in the person's head, that they don't feel like there's something that's an interruption, that it plays out best this way than that way, then it's more appealing and it's best. I believe this game plays out the same way as a good Captain America comic book. It flows from beginning to end very well. Everything plays out good, but it just doesn't hit that high note that as every single page hits the exact smooth terrain, falls goes along that smooth water line, smooth flowing water on a riverbed. So it doesn't flow like water smoothly. There's also a little upshore or a bunch of rocks for the water to crash into, and then it goes around the water or falls into a ravine, and it goes over a little hill. It's still going in a specific direction, but has to go through certain things in order to get to its objective rather than flow smoothly. It accomplishes the job, but it has little hiccups, and I believe that's satisfactory. That's satisfactory and that's acceptable, and that's what I believe Trench Brigade probably lacks. That it has to that there are certain hiccups or certain markers that weren't hit for it to be great. And I believe one of those main markers is the fact that not that many people were into mummy monsters, where they're more into zombie monsters. Not that many people are into werewolf slash creature from Black Lagoon or from Frankenstein monsters, where they'll be more into like uh, 28 Days Later zombies or infection or espionage or terrorism, playing a game of versus terrorism against things that could kill you in an instant, whereas old school monsters. And this is what I love about this game. This is a world that is rarely explored within television, within games, within comic books, and it doesn't get that love. But if you know how to execute it right, if you know how to do it like Raiders of the Lost Ark, or like Indiana Jones 2, or like National Treasure, or if you know how to do it like The Mummy, the movie The Mummy, that's what this is like. This is like that movie The Mummy, um, without the details of exploration from one singular Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider point of view. It's from the perspective of four different characters playing the game. So that's what I believe this game has. That's what this game is offering, and I believe people aren't that much interested in this type of stories in this day and age. But that doesn't exclude the fact that it's still a well done game. So right now it's a 4, and I'm gonna probably knock it up to about 5, 6, or 7 based on everything I've seen later on. Um, Tomorrow or sometime, but before the end of next week or before the end of this month, I'll give my final evaluation of this game. But I'm having fun now. I see nothing wrong with this game. I see no problem with this game. Um, is it a little slow? No, it's not slow. Is it a little janky? Yes, when it comes to one ability. Is there not a lot of people playing it? Obviously, because people in this modern era prefer certain type of games. And I enter the old school werewolf, mummy and all mythology stuff and historical stuff. They want just quick kills and Fortnite nonsense. But like, man, kiss my ass. If you want to jump off bridge with the rest of everybody, do it. I'd rather evaluate the game and see things for what they are, their value. So that's it. That's my take on Strange Brigade. It's a great game. Want to see how far it's gonna go.